Okay, today's video is going to be about how I start sketching my self-portrait based on a photograph. So this is the photo that I'll be using for my self-portrait, and I took this a few days ago, and I'm going to show you in the upcoming video how I start sketching this out. Okay, so I have my paper and pencil ready to go, and I've imposed the photo up in the top right-hand corner so you can see it. When I'm drawing, it's actually sitting next to me, but I couldn't fit them both in the camera. So I am going to just start today by loosely sketching the placement of each element. So I've drawn just kind of the basic line for the edge of my face. Now I'm blocking in the shape for this paintbrush that is kind of the left quarter of my image. So when I'm sketching this out today, I am not worried about getting all of the details exactly right. That will come later. What I'm looking for today is just to get the placement of each element of my drawing onto the paper. That way I can adjust it if it's too large or too small, and it will really help me later on when I go to add the details. So here you can see I'm working on the second paintbrush. This one is right at the edge of my face, so you really don't even see that the line for the side of my face on the left side. You just see the paintbrush here, and then the top of my head kind of sticks up right off the edge of that brush. I'm putting in a line for the shoulder. Now I'm recording this voiceover after I finish the drawing, so I know that line for the shoulder is way too short. It's too far down. Luckily, I fix it later. So now I'm trying to block in my nose because that's pretty much right in the center of this photo. And I'm trying to figure out where the glasses are. See, at first I put them down too low, then I moved them up. So sketching this out loosely first allows me to make those mistakes and fix them without feeling stuck, right? Like, oh no, I've drawn way too much. I can't change this now. So I'm also drawing pretty dark so that you can see it on the video, but I encourage you to start really lightly because it's really easy to make lines darker. It's really hard to make them lighter. So here I go now blocking in the glasses on the other side, and I'm going to start sketching in shapes from my nose here. Again, it does not have to be perfect. I'm just trying to figure out some of the basic shapes. And now we're going to lay in kind of this center paintbrush, just almost right in the middle of the composition. So it goes right from kind of the edge of my nose, right up through the middle of my eyeball. I'm just going to add in some details here for the ferrule of the paintbrush. That's the metal part, by the way. Fun vocab term. Ferrule is the metal part of a paintbrush that holds the bristles to the handle. So now I'm looking at the eyeball in here. So if you look at my glasses in my image, I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but the glasses distort the way that your face looks behind the glass. So you can actually see the edge of my face set in those glasses. So the eye and the edge of my head are going to be slightly off because of the way that the lenses of the glasses reflect light. So now I'm going to lay in my eyebrow. So I ran out of room. If you notice in the photo, there is space above my eyebrow, but in the drawing, there is not. And you know what? Stuff happens. That's okay. So now I'm putting in bits of the reflection of the glasses. I'm drawing a little bit more details for the eye. Again, not worried about getting it right, just placing it so that after this, when I go back to the drawing, I have a good sense of where everything's going to go. So now I'm going to start to lay in the paintbrushes on the other side, and I'm going to skip over this bit a little bit. All right, so I'm speeding up the drawing here because I don't want to bore you, but I'm working on laying in these other paintbrushes and some of the other details. But what I really want to talk about is just trying to adjust those facial proportions to fit whatever you're drawing. So if you think about facial proportions for an average face, right? That's the average face. That's no one's real face. So you want to think about, right, how does that change when you're doing the actual drawing? So now, like, I'm jumping down here to my mouth and to kind of the mustache and beard area down here, and I'm trying to find the shape for that facial hair. So I'm drawing, and this is the center line for my mouth, so it curves there, and my mouth is in a funny angle, so it does angle upwards a bit. I'm adding in the top lip, the line for the bottom lip here. There is a lot more to my drawing, but it did get cut off by the camera. So just pretend you can see the chin in my drawing. It is on the sketchbook, but I apologize that it didn't make it into the frame. So again, I'm not trying to draw all the facial hair. I will eventually, but right now I'm just blocking in the basic shapes. So I'm going to speed up the drawing a bit because I start kind of futzing with some little lines and details, which is really not important. What I want to talk to you about, though, is how the drawing is so sketchy and loose and messy at this point. And that's a great place to be in, because you don't want to have all those details in the drawing yet, because we're going to start adding value and shading, and all of those are going to get in the way of all those details. So if you're watching now, look, I'm noticing that the shoulder is way too low, so I'm moving it up higher now, drawing in some of those folds. I'm going to add in some little details onto things like the brushes and the clothing. And then what I want to start doing is looking for where those highlights are, and I'm going to sketch those out. Now, you can do this a lot of different ways, but I like to give myself little marks on the paper where the highlights are going to be. That way, as I'm adding in the shading, which we'll talk about next time, I know, okay, this is where those really bright spots will end up. So right now I'm putting those on the nose, and I'm adding some up onto the forehead and around the eyeball on the left and the left side of my face. There are a lot of highlights. So of course now the drawing looks like it's full of lines, right? You should be drawing a lot lighter than this, but this just gives you the idea about where you want to be, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's okay. And now I have finished my sketch. Ta-da! All right, if you have any questions, please let me know, and good luck, everybody.